So we are discussing chapter 8, Five Kingdom classification. You have already studied a lot about Five Kingdom classification in class 7. So in this class, in class 8, we are going to go in more depth with it. So as we can see in our surrounding, there are a lot of organisms. Not only of one variety, but many variety. Like one plant, like let me take an example of rose. If you see, rose are of different color, different varieties, so each variety is different from the other one. Similarly, if you see animals, from small organism to very big organisms, from little simple organisms to very complex organisms, so you can see a lot of diversity. And if such diversity is there, then we have to study it also. So in biology, there is a branch of biology that is known as taxonomy. In that branch, we study about how to classify the organism, how to identify them, how to name them. So all this come under this. So in this chapter, basically we'll begin with how to group the organisms. So there is certain stairs, grouping of it. In levels are there. We call it levels of diversity. So we'll begin with the levels of diversity. I have already explained in class about few other things, so I'm not going to go further with it. So directly I'm going to begin with the levels of diversity. So in the next slide, you are going to see the different levels of diversity. It will start from the kingdom, the topmost level, and then it will go to the down, the lowest category or lowest level, that is species. So you will see that in the next slide. What is species? The lowest category or the lowest level of the hierarchy. Species can be called as an organism of a particular kind, as it is given in your book. Species means an organism of a particular kind whose members can interbreed among themselves to produce fertile young ones. Now what does this mean? This means that, like, take an example of cat. Cat is a species. So all the members of the cat, all the species of the cat, this cat species, all the organisms belonging to that cat species, they can interbreed with each other. And when they interbreed with each other, the offspring which they are going to produce, that will be fertile. That means that can reproduce. Anything which can reproduce is said to be as fertile. The organisms which cannot reproduce are infertile. So here it is. Species means a group of organisms which can interbreed among themselves to produce the fertile offspring. So in your book you can see other things also, like different types of cats are there. Maybe different in shape, different in color, many differences, but they all belong to one species, cat, Felis. Similarly, human being, if you talk about human being are also of different type. Like Indians are completely different from the Africans. Africans are completely different from the Australians. In the body structure, in the color, etc., in the color of hairs, in the color of skin. So a lot of differences, but still they can interbreed among themselves, and the offsprings which will be produced will be fertile. So they are said to be grouped together in one group, and that group is known as species. Species, Homo sapiens. Similarly, talking about the trees, mango trees are, although all the mango trees are different varieties of mango trees are there, but all the mango trees belong to one species. All the people tree belong to one species. In your book, you will find that few examples are there. Examples of organisms which can interbreed among themselves to produce offspring. And these offsprings are not fertile, they are infertile. Why they are infertile? Because there are two different species. Species A, species B. Species A and species B, when interbreed together, the offspring which are produced are not fertile. Like mule. It is from donkey and horse. The mule is produced, that is not fertile. Why? Because donkey is a different species, horse is a different species. So when they together mate together and the offspring which is produced, that is not fertile. But if the horse species only, two organisms will mate and the offspring which is produced, that will be fertile. Now in your book you will see that it is said that two different species organisms produce offsprings. Yes, very true. Examples like mule, hinny, zenki, etc. etc. Many examples are there. So when the mating occurs between two different species, that two different species need to be very close to each other. They should not be very different from each other. Like if you see the donkey and the horse, they are somehow related with each other in structure, in color also. They are something related with each other. They still closely similar to each other. But suppose if I try to mate, if there is a mating between a lion and a horse, not possible because they are completely different. So mating also occur and interbreeding also occur only between closely related species, not between very different species, only between two closely related species. Now the next thing is genus. So if you see in your book, let me read out to you so that no confusion. Similar species constitute the next higher category called genus. Let us take an example. We have crows around our homes. The hill crow is different from the crow that is living on the plains on the basis of color, size, beak, etc. Though hill crow and the house crow are two different species, they cannot interbreed, yet they are crows, easily made out from other birds. These two kinds of crow belong to same genus, Corvus. Now, genus means like if you see different species are there. Suppose let us take an example of crow only. House crow, it is very different. Jungle crow, it is very different. So both are different species. Closely related species but little different to each other. But these closely related species, the species which are closely related, they can come together under one genus, under one group, that is known as genus. So this all the crows, though they are different from each other, though they belong to different species, but they come together and come into one group. That one group is known as genus. Similarly, if you say to me, like I have given you one picture, if you see, one photo was given to me, one image was given to me about the humans, you will see that. There also you will see that. Though this apes, this gorillas, these are of different species, though they can be grouped into one. So this is the all about genus. Similar species grouped under one common grouping, and that is known as genus. Next is family. Family means that a group of genus which have certain characteristics similar to each other, that is forming a family. Like take an example, lion and tiger, different species but belong to the same genus. Why it is belonging to the same genus? It is because if you see the structure of lion and tiger, somewhat similar to each other, closely related. That's why they have grouped together. So they come under one genus. Now if you see the genus of cats, if you see the cats, you will find that cats have evolved from the lion only, or maybe lion have evolved from the cat. So somehow similar to each other. This lion and cats are somehow similar to each other. That's why, though this tiger lion is another genus, cat is another genus, but two different genus with somewhat similar characteristics have grouped together to form a family. Once again, species, two different species have come together to form one genus. Two different genus with similar characteristics have come together to form a family. So this lion and tiger, though of different genus, cat of different genus, but they have come together and grouped into one family, that is known as Felidae. So if you see Felidae, in the family Felidae, there we can find cats also, we can find tiger also, we can find lion also. Similarly, if you see about humans, the family is Hominidae. So there you can find humans also, you can find apes also, you can find gorilla also. So though gorilla and apes are of different genus, human is of different genus, but grouped together to form one. Now the next category, like if you see no hierarchy, the species is at the lowest level. Next higher level to species is genus. Next higher level to genus is family. And now we are going to study about next higher level, that is order. Now a group of related families together form an order. What does that mean? Like for example, if you take, like we have already talked about one example of family, like family Felidae, in that all the cats, lion and tigers come. If you see, it is very similar to the family Canidae. In family Canidae, the dogs, wolf, jackals, etc. comes. So somehow in form of fur, body structure, though height is not too much, but somehow they are similar to each other. So these two families are similar to each other. So all of them, all these two family Felidae and family Canidae, together comes and form an order. Which order? They form the order Carnivora. Carnivora, it can also be said, as both of these are organisms are meat feeding. They feed on meat. So that's why on that basis also the name has been given to them. So that is also a common feature between them. That's why they are grouped together and formed one single order. Like if you take of another example, like human, if you see, you will find primate, the order primate. So primate means that in this order, all the organisms like human, apes, gorilla, lemurs, monkeys all come together. Why? Because of they have toes, they have fingers, they even have hairs, so they have mammary glands. So on the basis of that, they are grouped together in one order. So this is all about order. Okay, so here also let me summarize the entire topic of today. As I said, that different species are there. What are species? Species which are consisting of organisms which can interbreed among themselves. Like the humans, these are different species. Different species. Cat, different species. So this is the meaning of species. Next, what is genre or genus? Genus means that similar species group together and forms the genus. Similar species, like we took an example of house crow, different species 1. Let's take an example, species 1, hill crow, species 2, but they have grouped together in one. But they have grouped together in one genus. In one genus. That genus is known as genus Corvus. Why they have grouped together? Because they are very similar to each other. So these two similar species, other examples are also there. These two similar species have joined together and formed genus. Now next, family. Family means two similar genus with similar characteristic will group together to form a family. Like for an example, suppose lion, tiger, these two are different genus. Genus 1. Cat is different genus. Genus 2. But these two genus are very similar to each other. So they will together they will form a common family. They will group into a family. Family Felidae. Now next is order. Order means related families will group together to form order. Like the family Felidae. Family 1, Canidae, family 2. So these two families have grouped together. Why grouped together? Because they have certain characteristics similar with them. So they have grouped together. Felidae includes the lion, tiger, cats. Canidae includes the dog, jackals, wolf, etc. So they have grouped together to form order. Order Carnivora.